Hey, thanks for tuning in. Listen, I wanted to talk to you guys about why Blizzard is the biggest piece of shit gaming company you're ever going to experience. Okay, so I've been playing with Blizzard for 14 years. Um, I have 22,000 achievement points, 500,000 kills, 2 years play time, a field marshal in their first season, um, every character class, duplicates of my main, so on and so forth. So I spent a lot of time. You kind of use it as a library. It's like the fallback game where you just, go around and do achievements and PvP, um, which honestly, their system isn't any better than any others because as you start to understand the class makeups and how they're playing out their classes, things aren't as rock, paper, scissors as they need to be. It's more like one class, honestly, well, it is more rock, paper, scissors will dominate one more than another. Um, I want to share my experience. I recently reached out to them for help. I was dealing with some credit card fraud. And just by reaching out to them for help, they pulled down my account. They pulled down my wife's account. Um, After which I said, let me not bother them with my time and let me create another account. They pulled down that account and didn't offer me a refund. They ultimately took um, 6 years worth of straight played time based on the achievements and everything that I've done. It was basically my gaming library. They took it by me asking them for help. So let me outline what I did. I literally sent out um, a ticket explaining my issue, um, at which point they decided that, based on the fact that you're having a life issue, that they're going to close your account. The end. No questions asked. When you try to reach out to them, there's no phone numbers. There's no nothing. When you try to make a ticket with them, if they close your account, you no longer have access to the Blizzard.com website. You no longer have access to Battle.net. So there's no putting in a ticket. So there's no even complaining about your problems. They have automated their entire system in such a way that they have now completely taken any human aspect out of anything. Because you've got a guy who literally has 22,000 achievement points, has asked you for help, and you have now shut off their account. You've now shut off their wife's account. You've shut off their kids' playtime on the game. Um, by making the final account, I said to myself, I was like, oh, we're just going to stay low key. My son will be able to pick up on this account. No, they banned that one too. So even by me putting it under another name means that they still had tracking on my computer. Um, they took the steps to compare um, my stamp on my computer on the account. They were scanning new accounts to look to see which ones coincided with a closed account, and then they went and closed that account. They're spending more time on their research and development to create a humanless interface for themselves, that they have completely lost humanity. You're talking 300 plus mounts, 300 plus toys, 800 plus pets, 1100, 800 unique pets, 1100 pets. You're talking about 2 years of slash played time. Um, getting on every evening. I'm a painter. Like, I don't understand how a painter who comes home in the evening runs into such rhetoric. And I'm going to tell you what I think it is. I think it's just the amount of time that I've spent playing the game. I think that they honestly are intervening on their own players and saying, you've been here too long. So, with that statement said, they're not a gaming company. You should not game for them. They have their own rhetoric, and they're going to interfere with your life. They're going to take things from you. They're going to destroy, basically, your happiness. With their own callous disregard, because it wasn't even a friendly notion of what they did. You're not even talking about a proper correspondence. Like, hey, don't bother us with your own hack, is basically what was never said. I reached out to them because I had 14 years loyalty to Blizzard. I've spent all my gaming with Blizzard. And once something went wrong in my life, I needed to speak to some sort of IT tech and try to get to the bottom of it. And they they went completely cold. I don't know if you guys have noticed, like as you try to log in to put in a ticket stuff, I mean, you're ultimately put on a web ticket for 24 hours. You used to be able to get phone callbacks. They've completely disabled the phone callback system, at least on my accounts. And I don't know if that's based on use. I honestly want to tell you that I've probably put in maybe a ticket a year throughout the 14 years that I've been playing the game. So I'm, '05 to current player. So, like I said, complete callous disregard. Um, and then when I went and just bought a new account, which is a completely separate story, I bought another account to kind of, circumvent the whole situation. They immediately closed that account and didn't issue any refund or nothing. So, 6 years of work to me is valued at, considering I'm a $30 an hour painter. I can't even begin to tell you how quick of a decision that they made off a guy who spent, if I spent 8 hours a day, if with 2 years playtime, that means I've done 6 years because of the fact that 2 years playtime would be 24 hours a day, which no one's doing 24 hours a day. You're talking about 6 years of dedicated time to that game of 8 hours or more a day over the span of about 14 years, which almost breaks down to, like a 50-50 run. So you're basically at that point saying that I minimally spent 4 hours a day for 14 years playing World of Warcraft. And, I do a little bit of the questing, I do the dungeons, I do a ton of PvP. I'm all over the place. I wanted to do everything. But like I said, it's that type of callous disregard that they're holding on to. And that type of callous disregard, no one should play their games. So if you're thinking about picking up a Blizzard game, I'm just going to tell you, don't bother with Overwatch because they've stolen it from Call of Duty. That was the Activision Blizzard push. Now they've got their own first-person shooter, and it ain't worth it. You're going to find out that based on the controllers for, using a joystick controller versus using a PC and so on and so forth, they haven't adjusted the sensitivities properly in regards to horizontal and vertical. So it's inconsistent. And based on the rock, paper, scissors of their PvP, and based on the fact that Blizzard always picks a specific class to work on and actually doesn't get the rest of them done outright. And, honestly, people see the DPS differences almost immediately in the expansions, and then it takes, 7-8 months for them to even get their shit together. They're garbage. That's all I can tell you is this Christmas, this year going forward, the battle for Azeroth and all that, no. It ain't worth it. Their company is straight garbage. Thanks for your time.